You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Sunday Watch, and we're glad to know that you're out there watching. All right, this moment, I said earlier that it's International Women's Day, and coincidentally, it's our Sunday. What started as an agitation for women to vote over about 115 years ago, has, emanated into an annual exercise, an annual a program that at every point, every year, theme will always come with it. And it's not just themed, but issues that will be brought to the front burner that will, relate to real time how women, maximize the opportunities given to them, and to ensure that they are not just existing, but there is equality. There is fear of marginalization reduced or totally eradicated. And I have the rare pleasure of welcoming two wonderful women to the program this morning. I have my chairperson, Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, Mrs. Jumoke Johnson. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad
to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you. I almost mixed it all. Our congressional activities. Yeah. I thought I don't need to check my papers, yes, for your name. All right.
Happy International Women's Day.
All right. Okay. Joining us by Zoom is also someone I will refer to as a national woman leader. She is an Awardian, blood in every aspect of it. I welcome Mrs. Adiola, excuse me, to the program. You're most welcome, ma'am. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, ma'am?
Yeah, Adiola. Share one bed.
Okay. You're most welcome, ma, to the program.
Thank you so much. Happy International Women's Day.
Okay. All right. I want to start from her this morning before I come to my chairperson. Let's start it this way. Let's do an X-ray. We're looking at women in nation building. How participative has women been in the last few years, especially during this democratic dispensation in Nigeria?
Yeah,
are you talking?
Yes,
I
yes.
can barely hear you.
Oh,
it's faint.
Oh, it's faint. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, all right. I want you to do an analysis of women activities in the country right now. When it comes to positions of leadership, do we have enough women?
Okay. Let me just say, we all understand that wherever there are women in a community that we put women, we should know that the economy should thrive. And let me say this in Yoruba. They say, "Obìnrin ni Yoaye." So we are the salt. But it's so unfortunate that in Nigeria, as we speak, we believe that women make up a large percentage of small and medium enterprise owners. But when we talk about if in our democracy, in a democratically elected nation, despite the contributions of women who often operate under structural disadvantages, we do not see women being represented. The affirmative, 35% affirmative of the United Nations is just on paper. We are yet to see such. The truth is, Nigeria cannot achieve sustainable development without fully harnessing the economic potential of women. So it's time for women to actually be brought on the table, on the decision-making table, so that the nation can thrive.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. All right, Mrs. Jumoke Johnson. Okay, my chairperson. Now, when it comes to economic
I can barely hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
It's all right.
All right. When it comes to economic and political participation, how will you describe the percentage of women? Let's take, the National Assembly as a case study here.
I like that
Yeah.
that you went straight to the
Straight,
National Assembly.
straight.
The numbers are so depressing. The numbers are disappointing.
Wow.
Why it is especially so is because go to campaign rallies, go to your wards, go to your constituencies. You find women. They have the time. They are intent on participating, but it is just participation without power.
Without power.
It is it becomes a pyramid. The ground floor is so wide, filled with women, and then it narrows up there, and it becomes tougher for them to get in. Yes, you have them participating, talking, showing all the vibrancy they need to show, contributing at the ground level, and then when the crowd thins out, when it is just the few decision makers left in the room, you barely find any woman amongst them. You find that the times, the structures do not favor them in some way, especially because in our society we are still largely cultural. We are still largely patriarchal. Apologies to the men, but we know these are the truth. So sometimes the gatekeepers, who happen to be men, are cultural, sometimes patriarchal, traditional, not by their own fault, but by what society has told them women's role should be. You go to the National Assembly, we have 360 people in the House of Representatives, and just 16 are women.
16.
Not 100 are women.
Not even
Not
20.
150
Not
are
20.
women. Not 50 are women. 16 are women out of 360. I think politically we are not yet serious about the business.
Okay. Okay.
In the Senate, the same is the story. 109. How many are women? 4. Now, the shocking part of representation in the legislature is in the House of Assembly, and people really look at that part of the legislature. That is the grassroots. That is where things matter. That is where representation begins. That is where voices are louder, can be heard, are closer to the grassroots. We have about 990 something, about just a little less than 1,000 House of Assembly members. We have less than 60. Nationwide, less than 60 women amongst them. I think when we are ready to be serious about this thing, we're going to look at the numbers critically. We're going to look at the state of the economy. We're going to find that straight path that leads to women participation, the state of the economy, and then we're going to chart a way forward to what we need to do to make things better.
All right, thank you very much. Let me go over to my zonal leader. Can you hear me clearly now? Can you hear me clearly now, Mrs. Adiola?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I wish I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
I can barely hear you.
Okay. Okay. I want to believe you have your earpiece on. Do you have it? Your
No,
earpiece.
I don't,
Okay, now the question.
Okay. All right. Can you?
but I'm fine.
Okay.
good.
Okay. All right. Okay. I want your reaction to this. The percentage of women when it comes to leadership positions in the country is really alarming. The percentage is so minute that the reality is so far from it. How can this narrative be changed and we'll have more women participation in leadership positions and decision making in the country?
Like you said, the percentage of women is so low. And I think I made mention of it at the other time. This is in contrast to global standards, which is actually promoted by organizations like the United Nations, which recommended at least 35% affirmative, representation for women in governance. But then in Nigeria, they look at cultural stereotypes, financial barriers, and even political party structures, which of course continue to limit women's participation in politics. And looking at it, because of how it has always been, you see that the participation of women is reducing. When we see during the campaign, women are often active during the campaign mobilization, but yet they are excluded from the decision-making table once power is attained, like I said earlier. But then the political space must evolve from token inclusion to meaningful representation. If I'm to answer your question, the political space must evolve from token inclusion to meaningful representation. It's we cannot just continue to sit down and I believe our voices will be heard. If women are put in the decision-making table, definitely the nation will thrive. So for now, that it has the representation is less, we are advocating that this time around they should bring up women into decision-making table, and women as well should endeavor to march forward to take up positions. But nevertheless, if women are not taking up positions, at least there are appointments. Women are supposed to be included in the appointment, like let's the government bring up women. And I tell you, if women are put in certain positions like that, the nation will thrive.
Thank you very much. All the analysis thus far has been the right of women and what is expected. But in taking action, Mrs. Johnson, what should every woman do in taking action? Yes, the number is, very, very few, very, very small. What kind of action should the women, folk, and girls take in ensuring that there is justice, there is equity, and the fear of marginalization is eroded?
I think at this point, every woman must see political participation as a necessity, because the participation of women at this time in governance is an economic necessity. It is no longer something that we talk about, we chew year in, year out, and we put to rest. And women especially must cease to be comfortable in forming the crowd and standing on the sidelines. You must come mainstream. Do not be intimidated, because if you look back to the time of emancipation, winning voting rights for women and all of that, it looked daunting.
Yeah.
It was an impossible task by every measure. But then eventually we arrived here. But we have stayed here for too long. We have remained on this low representation, no representation, no political power, non-existent women in governance issues for too long. At this time, in 2026, we should not be talking about having less than 10% women in the National Assembly Constitution. It is unheard of. Different parts of governments all around the world have scaled this point, and women must arise to the fact that intimidation is what it is. It is a tool to keep you back.
To keep
You
quiet.
need to band together. I've cited this example a couple of times. Crowd lends strength. When you look at mob actions, look at the head of the mob. It's probably on some scrawny guy who can't stand danger, who can't stand the slightest danger on a normal day.
Yeah.
But he's empowered by the crowd. When we have a National Assembly like we do right now, in the Senate, there are 309 members. We have 4 women. In the House of Representatives, there are 360 members. We have 16 women. What do you think they can achieve? How fearless do you think they can be?
Will they even have a
How
voice?
loud can
they
be
be heard?
Before you know it, they begin to act like the men for survival. So it ceases to be about we the women. It continues to be about them. Because they are too busy trying to save their heads. They're too busy trying to win another term. Not to talk of speaking for women, bringing more women in, empowering women, opening the doors, throwing the doors wide open for other women. So I think that every election cycle, come out en masse, dust off yourself, put aside your fears, come out, step into the ring, throw your hat in the ring, buy the forms, gather as many people as you can to your side, crowdfund women. Yes, we play money politics in Nigeria. We're going to come to that, about reformation in campaign financing and all of that. But I think for now, the way it is right now, women need to band together. That is the only way to win right now.
Women, yes. All right, before I hand over to my co-anchor, I want to quickly ask you, ma'am, this question. Women need to bound together in every step. If we are serious, yes, okay, I included myself. If we are serious in getting to that echelon, to that stage of decision-making in the country, what, in your own opinion, will you suggest that the government, NGOs do, individuals also do in taking action to ensure that every woman did not just end up at the campaign rally as a crowd, but getting to that stage of decision-making and economic decisions that will really move this country greater and higher?
Mrs. Adiola.
Mrs. Adiola, can you hear me? Okay, it's as if we're still having a technical hitch. The audio is not picking too well. Okay, can you hear me now?
No.
Okay, we are still struggling with the audio.
No.
All right. Let me ask you before we'll go back.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can pick you now. You were directing a question.
Yes.
To me.
Yes. I want you to suggest now the proper steps to be taken by government in ensuring that women have quality participation in governance and economic decisions of the country. The Beijing says 35%, according to the Beijing conference, 35% of women participation is expected in every country. But when she gave an analysis, she said even if we can get 10%, what we have right now is not even near that 10%. So what should government do intentionally, every individual, women and men, do to ensure that we hear the voices of the women folk and girls loud and clear enough?
Okay, thank you. When we talk about government responsibilities and what government should do in order to create enabling environment for women's advancement and for women's participation in governance, let's take a look at policy implementation. There's need for the existing gender policies to move from paper to action. Enough of like I said earlier, I might be repeating myself because I keep saying the 35% affirmative. And like you rightly said, and like my co-panelist said, we do not even have up to 10%. So enough of the policies just being on paper. Let it extend. Beyond paper, and of course to action. And then when we talk about the education, girl child. You know, when we see, I know we still have some people that still believe that they don't need to educate their girls, that their girl child need not go to school. But investing in girls' education and vocational training, you know, ensures that women are equipped for leadership and economic participation. Once you put them into the stuff like that, once you educate them, invest in them. I know for a fact that my father will always say that he does not regret investing in me. So it's high time we invested in girl child so that they can be carried along and they can also be equipped for leadership and economic participation. And government should also support women entrepreneurship. We have women farmers. We have that. Give them low interest loans. Give them grants. Let there be grants for women, women-led businesses. Let there be access to markets. There are some people that will just sit at home and not do something. But when they see grants, when they get low interest loans, they will be able to also move and also be confident of themselves and not just be women that just sit at home. And when we look at laws that protect women, you know, strong enforcement of laws against gender discrimination and violence. Although recently we've had a situation whereby women that are molested, that are violated, are being helped, you know. But then this particular law, let there be strong enforcement of laws against gender discrimination and of course violence, and to include them in governance, to include women in governance. You know, it's a way to encourage women's participation. Yes, in ministerial roles, if women are included there, in political appointments, and of course in legislative positions. So when women have all of this, their representation in governance will be jacked up or spiked up, at least beyond the 35% affirmative on paper that we see to action.
All right, thank you very much. You want to lend your voice to what she just
absolutely.
Explained.
My VP has spoken very well. Now, the recent shift in conversation about getting more women to participate in governance has been the reserved seats bill. The reserved seats bill before now had come in as some sort of form of wanting the men to yield some seats to have more women come on. But the reserved seats bill is better. You're not losing your seat. You're not losing your right to stand election and be voted for. But to help the peculiarity of our country, just like so many other countries around the world have worked with the reserved seats strategy, it has helped a lot in getting more women to participate. Now, what it's simply asking for is an extra seat in all the senatorial districts in the country, specifically reserved for women, specifically reserved for women contestants. One extra seat.
One extra.
Times 100 and times 37 district. The same applies to the House of Representatives, and the same applies to House of Assemblies around the country. So it makes sense. Yeah. This gets more women involved the parliament. It gets more women into the legislature. These are going to be seats that are going to be contested by women and women alone. Of course, they're going to stand election.
Yeah, true.
They're going to be voted for. That is one. Another thing that is seriously working against women, which government needs to work on, is campaign financing.
Okay.
There are no rules to this thing. Money bags rule the election.
Yeah, true.
Now, you talk about women who are...
And it's not limited only to Nigeria.
Yes, absolutely. The coverts, the overt, and all of it come to play when election comes in.
Yeah.
But you know, the disadvantage that women suffer here is because of the cultural structures that still push women back. A woman cannot inherit. A woman cannot. Women usually do not own landed property around here, and you know, landed property goes a long way in collateral. Being used as
push it.
collateral.
Yes.
All of these things economically disempowers the woman, and then you want her to wield the same financial weight as a man on election day. I'm not talking about promoting money politics here. I'm only saying if we want to run the system, we need to level the playground.
Level the playground. Let me hand over to her because of time.
àfínrìnfíntìn náà ni ṣe rí nígbà tí alága ti ń bọ̀ ni mo ti mọ̀ pé alága mi o tó ń skẹ́ǹkì tó ń dúró tán tàyín náà wọ ọmọ tó mọ dúró tán bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tó ń dúró lẹ̀ àwọn ẹlẹ́wà mo ní alága mo níṣẹ́ ti mú Yorùbá yín dání.
Mo mú dání díẹ̀.
Tó tán ṣe rí pé ni wọn náà fi sọ wọn làwọn mú dání
Kò ní fẹ́ o.
alága wa.
Ìyáàfin
Ìyáàfin Jùmọ̀kẹ́ Johnson orúkọ yín náà ti ẹ̀wọ̀ orúkọ yín Jùmọ̀kẹ́ Johnson JJ ọ̀gá ẹ káàárọ̀ mà ẹ bá mi káwọn ará ilé tó ń wò yín.
Ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ẹ kú lé o, a kú oríire ni Happy International Women's Day. Àwọn ọmọ ìfẹ́ sọ́jú yẹn.
Kẹ́ ti gbà wá.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin obìnrin káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà kí
campaign ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà ni.
a kú ọdún èní.
Wọ́n ní a kú ọdún èní o torí pé èní náà ni ọjọ́ obìnrin lágbàáyé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àjọ àwa obìnrin rí pé ìyàwó àwọn kí wa tán pátápátá ẹgẹ ibi ní kí alága ni bẹ́ẹ̀ ni alága àwọn akọ̀ròyìn inú mi ti ẹ̀ ń dùn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo ní màmá wa ìyáàfin Adéọlá àwọn náà tún wà ń bíbá igbákejì alága ròyìn ẹwẹ mọ káàbọ̀ ìyáàfin Adéọlá ṣe wà ń bẹ̀ ìyáàfin Adéọlá.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí.
déédéé gidi ni a kú ọdún èní ẹ̀mí wá ṣọ̀pọ̀ ẹ̀ àbí.
Àmín.
Ṣé rí pé wọ́n gbọ́ mi dáadáa bẹ́ẹ̀ báyìí àmì torí gbàgbà tí màá sọ Yorùbá ní ìsẹ́mọ́lẹ̀ ẹ̀ gbọ́ mi o ìyáàfin Adéọlá. Ó dáa náà mo ní ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí.
Mo gbọ́ yín díẹ̀díẹ̀.
Ẹjọ́ gákè o ẹ ṣe gan ni ṣé rí òní ni ọdún àwọn obìnrin adìẹ wa ń pariwo à ń palansia wípé sẹ́ orílẹ̀-èdè tí bá fẹ́ ní ìlọsíwájú tó pàtàyà ó mà gbọ́dọ̀ mú tóbìnrin ṣe o nítorí pé ibikíbi tóbìnrin bá wà ẹ̀yin náà mọ̀ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ máa ń gún régé ni ibẹ̀ yìí gbàgbà kúgbà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ní lọ́jọ́ Monday nìkan kọ́ nígbà gbogbo Èkó ò ní gbàgbà kúgbà ìgbà gbogbo obìnrin ò ní gbàgbà kúgbà ẹ̀yin náà mọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá wà wo bí gbogbo nǹkan ṣe rí sórí bẹ́ẹ̀ ǹjẹ́ àwọn obìnrin ǹjẹ́ òun wá jákè lórílẹ̀‐èdè wa àbáwọn orílẹ̀‐èdè wa tabaníkà tiẹ̀ wo àárín gbùngbùn Áfíríkà ṣóhun wá jákè ẹjẹ́ àpadà wálé lóde Nàìjíríà níbi tá a ti ríra wa dáadáa ìdángbọ́ wa dáadáa mélòó lobìnrin tó wà nípò aláṣẹ mélòó lobìnrin tó jẹ́ yí pé ó ṣe kí ni tí ó dúró níbi tí ó yẹ kí ó dúró sí pàápàá jùlọ nínú ilé gan àwọn gan tó ṣe jẹ́ pé wọ́n wà ní inú fámìlì kì tí wọ́n jẹ́ mọ́mì wa rí pàwọn ọkùnrin ọ̀hún ìyàwó mi pé wá mi báyìí obìnrin ni ẹ̀ ń sọ pé mo rántí pàtàkì ọ̀tọ̀ rẹ̀ wọ́n ti wá já padà sáyé náà kí ló dé torí bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn ìyá wa ṣe wá ní àárọ̀ yìí láti wá ṣe kí ni kí wọ́n gbóhùn àwọn obìnrin sókè wọ́n fẹ́ ru wá sókè ká lè mọ obìnrin mi gan tẹ̀tí sọ ponu òun gan ti rò pé tó
ẹjọ́ ìjẹ́ gbà fọlọ́hún
ẹjọ́ ìjà máa tòṣọ́ yìí àwọn bàbá wa yìí náà ni kájà máa pàtẹ́wọ́ ni àtẹ́wọ́ yìí náà ni kò sí èdè dandan kan dìbò tóbìnrin kan bá lò fẹ́ dìbò ládùúgbò
wọ́n ní wọ́n ní kó lọ
ayọkùnrin ni ẹgbọ́ta ayọkùnrin ni wa ẹ bá ń bá wọn sọ.
Ayé gbogbo wa ni bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bọ́lọ̀ ń ṣe dọ́kùnrin ló ṣe dóbìnrin ayé gbogbo wa ni àwa náà mọ ipa táwọn obìnrin ń kó láwùjọ.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Àwùjọ wa jẹ́ àwùjọ tí ilé ẹbí tẹ́bí jẹ́ ìpìlẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀.
Ẹbí sì ni a ti ń rí pa àwọn obìnrin jù tá a bá lè fa ẹbí lé àwọn obìnrin lọ́wọ́ kò sí nǹkan tó ní ká má fòṣèlú lé àwọn obìnrin lọ́wọ́. Nítorí pé
káwọ báyìí pé ilé láti kẹ́sọ̀ ròde.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tóbìnrin bá tọ́mọ tó lè tọ́yè tó tọ́ tó dáa tó jọyàn láwùjọ kò sóhun tó ju kò sóhun kan tó ju yẹn lọ. And ìdí ni pé so many times a máa ń rí i pé ilé láti kẹ́sọ̀ ròde bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe sọ.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìyá mi.
ohun tá a bá ti fi lé ọmọ lọ́wọ́ òun ló ń jáde ṣe. Of course ìgbà míì a máa ń rà àwọn ọmọ tí wọ́n gbàgbé ẹ̀kọ́ lé wọn.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bẹ́ẹ̀ tó gbàgbé ilé.
ṣùgbọ́n ohun tóbìnrin bá dáwọ́lé tó fẹ́ ṣe dáradára check it.
bẹ́ẹ̀
kò ń tà sí
láyé
kò ń tà sí.
kò tà sí rí.
kò sídìí tó fi yẹ pé a fẹ́ yọ tóbìnrin sẹ́yìn a fẹ́ sọ pé kí ló fẹ́ ṣe.
kí lóbìnrin lè ṣe.
in the formal sector rí nǹkan tó ń ṣe in agriculture rí nǹkan tó ń ṣe.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
àwọn kókó méjì ọ̀nà méjì jẹ́ kókó nínú bá a ṣe ń gbé ètò ìṣúná orílẹ̀-èdè wa ga. So why would we say that? What's the place of who is a woman? What's a place in economic policies and governance?
ẹ padà sílé o.
àti wálé.
ẹ ṣe gan ni ìyá mi kí mo sọ fún yín mo ní kọ́tà máa mú un mọ́ àbí ó ti yé ẹ̀yin màmí tẹ̀ wá nílé àtẹ̀yìn dẹ̀ bàbá wa náà wọ́n ní iye obìnrin pé ipa takuntakun òun náà ni a dì mú nínú ilé àti lórílẹ̀‐èdè ẹ dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe kí ni ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ gbà fún wa náà ni tóbìnrin bá lè tọ́ dókítà lọ́kùnrin bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tó lè tọ́ ẹnjìníà lọ́kùnrin obìnrin náà ló tọ́ pírẹsidẹ́ǹtì kí ni ká wá wò kí wá ló dé sí obìnrin bí ò yẹ ní ipò olórí wọn ní ẹ jẹ́ ká tuntun padà o kí ṣe rántébù lẹ pé ká tún dá padà síbẹ̀.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni ká wá tún tò.
wọ́n ní ká wá tún tò á tún ṣàlọ́tẹ̀ ìjàre ọdún tẹ́lẹ̀ tá a fi máa tún ṣàgangan nílé.
òun la wà yìí.
ìyáàfin adéọlá ṣe wà ń bẹ̀ mà ó ní ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi ẹ gbọ́ wọ́n láwa obìnrin gangan fúnra ara wa wọ́n láwa gangan ń ṣe ṣùtá ara wa ṣe mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lóòótọ́ àti òdodo kò sí owó kò sí nǹkan tá a lè fi dàbí tọkùnrin nígbà míì ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n láwa gan ẹnu àfẹnujára wa ṣóòótọ́ ni pàǹjára wa ń tàn mọ́ ìyáàfin adéọlá.
Kò sí rọ́ńbẹ̀ nítorí èmi mọ̀ ní ọdún kan lọ́hùn-ún bóyá 2015 election tí arábìnrin Sarah mo ti gbàgbé
ìyàwó kan báyìí
sọlẹ̀ ní ẹ báyìí tí ó tó gbégbá pé òun náà fẹ́ díje fún ipò president mo dẹ̀ rántí wípé ìgbà tí wọ́n máa ṣe ka ìbò obìnrin kan tẹ̀ wá nú àwọn tó sì tẹ̀lé tó jẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀rẹ́ àbí aládùúrótì tó tẹ̀lé nígbà tó máa lọ ka ìbò mo rí i pé òun nìkan ìbò kan péré òun ni wọ́n kà fún tó fi hàn gẹ́gẹ́ pé òun nìkan náà ló fi
ló dìbò fún rẹ̀
tí obìnrin bá dúró ní pé à ń dúró ti obìnrin
ara wa
ọ̀nà kí lẹ sọ
ṣé àdúró ti ra wa ni ẹnì ṣọlẹ ẹ máa nìṣó.
tí a bá rí i pé obìnrin ṣe àdúrótì fún obìnrin tí wọn ò fẹnu já obìnrin wálẹ̀ tí wọ́n dúró ti obìnrin náà dé obìnrin náà ló máa wà níbi àwọn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé ṣé wà nílé ọkọ ni kò sí nílé ọkọ ẹni tí ò sí nílé ọkọ ṣó lè wà ní
ipò tó lé sí ni ẹni tí ò tó lé ò lè tó
obìnrin náà ló máa ẹni tí ò rílẹ̀ ètò ṣó fẹ́ tó orílẹ̀-èdè ni ṣó fẹ́ tó ibi àga tẹ fẹ́ fi sí ni obìnrin náà ló máa ṣe àwa obìnrin tá a dẹ̀ tún wá jẹ́ akọ̀ròyìn ó yẹ kí àwa náà jáde kí a ṣe kí àwa náà kí a sọpọ́ọ̀tì àwọn obìnrin tá a bá rí pé
kẹfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀
ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú obìnrin tá a bá rí pé òun náà fẹ́ díje òun náà fẹ́ ṣe báyìí àwa yìí obìnrin náà la mọ bí a ṣe bá a kọ ìròyìn yìí àwa la mọ bí a ṣe bá a gbé sí afẹ́fẹ́ àwa la mọ bí a ṣe tì lẹ́yìn tí òun náà a fi ní tí wọ́n fi máa sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ ní dáadáa tí obìnrin kan bá bọ́ síbì kan tó sọ pé báyìí obìnrin kan náà ló máa dúró tì í láti sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ so that àní fi àyè gba àwọn obìnrin míì because obìnrin míì yìí àwọn náà ló máa rìn lọ bá ọkùnrin náà máa sọ pé nǹkan báyìí lẹ máa sọ tó máa fi di pé ó ní ìjákulẹ̀ kódà gan kì í ṣe nípa pé ká jẹ́ gómìnà àbí ká jẹ́ president nìkan ní ibi iṣẹ́ wa fúnra wa ń kọ́ ní ọ́fíìsì ara wa fúnra wa ń kọ́ obìnrin náà ló máa lọ sọ ló máa fẹnu já ló máa níta ni ẹni pé ẹni tí ò ṣe kínní ẹni tí ò lè tolé ẹ̀ báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ ṣe tán bá tiẹ̀ tún wá pàpà fi obìnrin yẹn sí tóbìnrin yẹn tó sì pàpà dé ipò náà obìnrin náà lóbìnrin tó máa bọ́ sí ẹ̀yìn tó máa lọ sọ pé tó máa wá nǹkan kan fi sí lẹ́sẹ̀ fúdí èyí kò yẹ kí ó yẹ ká ti kọjá pé obìnrin ló ń fa obìnrin sílẹ̀ torí àwọn ọkùnrin tẹ́ bá padà fún ní tẹ́ bá padà support tẹ́ fún ní tẹ́
gbàgbára lé lọ́wọ́
àwọn ọkùnrin yìí náà àwọn ọkùnrin ṣé gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ bá gbé déwájú wọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí obìnrin ṣé gbogbo ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ń dá lọ fún yín ni. Ní ti tèmi bá máa sọ̀rọ̀ máa sọ pé àwọn ọkùnrin kan wà tó jẹ́ wípé láyé wọn ò tiẹ̀ lè rí pé kóbìnrin wà ní ipò alága àbí ipò ọ̀gá wọn ò ní fẹ́ and orú àwọn yẹn ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ wọlé wọn. Àwọn ilé ọkùnrin tó máa sọ pé kóbìnrin yẹn jókòó síbẹ̀ kóbìnrin yẹn dẹ̀ máa jókòó síbẹ̀ ó gbọ́dọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ obìnrin náà ò ní voice kò ní ohùn kò lè sọ nǹkan kó máa ṣe fẹ́m ni àwọn òun náà ni wọn ò ní fàyè gba obìnrin láti lè ipò gíga. Ṣé gbogbo nǹkan tí obìnrin bá gbé síwájú ọkùnrin tẹ́ bá fi sípò gíga ṣé gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ni wọ́n ń dáhùn ni. Wọ́n ti di gbàgbé pé gbogbo àwọn nǹkan kan ti wà tán ti sọ pé mo gbọ́ tẹ́nìkejì mi náà sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan ìlú tóbìnrin bá ti wà ìlú tóbìnrin bá dẹ̀ tí ìlú náà máa ń gbèrò sí ni. Wọ́n ní àwa obìnrin àwa ni iyọ̀.
Àwa ni iyọ̀ náà ni.
Tí a bá jẹ́ tí wọ́n bá fi obìnrin sí kò sí ipò tí wọ́n fi obìnrin sí. Tí obìnrin náà ṣebéyàn ni Okonjo Iweala.
Àbí ìyá dáadáa.
Títí di ọ̀la a ṣì ń kí wọn a ṣì ń kọ sára sí wọn níbi tó wà.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni à ń gbóṣùbà orí
yìí. Olóògbé Dora Akuyili títí di ọ̀la a ṣì ń pe orúkọ ẹ̀ a ṣì ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ lẹ́nu a ṣì ń sọ àti bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Lóòótọ́ àwọn obìnrin pọ̀ tán sì wà ní ipò gíga tí wọ́n dẹ̀ ń ṣe tí wọ́n dẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní dídá. Ṣùgbọ́n kò tíì tó torí àwọn tó sì wà ń bẹ̀ gan àní bí wọ́n ṣe ń sọ pé àmọ́ nǹkan tó ṣe tó fi débi tó dé àmọ́ ládà tó gùn tó fi débi tó dé. Obìnrin tó bá lè ṣe òun ló ń débẹ̀ tí ò bá lè ṣe kò lè débẹ̀.
Ó dáa ìyá wa ó lè ṣe kò lè ṣe òun ló ń débẹ̀. Ó dáa náà láàárọ̀ yìí o gbogbo àwa obìnrin à á lè ṣe à á sì débẹ̀ àbí ntí ẹ̀yin ìyá wa ń sọ à á rí ṣe adúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run ìyá àfin Adéọlá mọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ o wọ́n ní àwa obìnrin tí a jẹ́ akọ̀ròyìn tí a jẹ́ oníròyìn wọ́n lè nípa takuntakun láti ṣe ìyá wa ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ló lọ yìí ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ ló lọ yìí tí gómìnà ló lọ yìí lóríṣiríṣi àwọn ipò tó yẹ ká máa bá àwọn obìnrin ń bẹ̀ ibùmí ìmárùnlẹ́sìn rí péréte ni wọ́n wà ń bẹ̀ kí ni tó dé ṣé lórí ọ̀rọ̀ owó ni torí pé ìmọ̀ pé tó má gbóbìnrin sípò tápá ti tán ló máa run sí i kàkà kéré tí òfin ní dùnbẹ̀ tó yẹ pé yóò fẹ́ ṣe ju àwọn ọkùnrin lọ kí wá ló dé tí wọ́n wá ráwọ̀ obìnrin bí ẹni tó yẹ kí wọ́n gbé sí ipò gíga ká lè torílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà yìí ṣe.
Àwa obìnrin náà ní oríṣiríṣi pátá ń sà bọ̀ omi ni ó pọ̀ jù.
Ó dẹ omi pọ̀ jọ ká wa lọ ló pọ̀ jẹ́ fún tẹ́ ẹ dá sí.
Nítorí pé ọkùnrin ló ń jí láàárọ̀ là mú aṣọ lábọ́ sọ́nà. Obìnrin tẹ́ bá rí ní títì láàárọ̀ ó ti ṣe bí iṣẹ́ 5 kó tó jáde nílé. Ó ti sóúnjẹ ó ti tún léṣe ó ti tọ́jú ọmọ
ó ti gbọ́mọ
lọ iléèwé ńgbà míì òun fúnra ẹ̀ ti múra ó ti ṣorí ẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ ní láti ṣe kó tún lè kóyà gbogbo ohun tó bá máa pàdé lọ́nà ìjọ yẹn kó tó jáde síta. So oríṣiríṣi ni ọ̀nà tóbìnrin ń kó ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tá a wá sọ lásìkò yìí ni pé ẹ fara yín mọ́ra ẹ wá ọ̀nà tí ó jẹ́ pé ipa tí náà kò ní kéré nínú òṣèlú
kó hàn
láwùjọ ẹ má fi tìyẹn ṣe ẹ wá àwọn tó lè ṣèrànlọ́wọ́ fún yín láwọn ọ̀nà tó kù káàkiri àwa tá a sì wà ní àwọn obìnrin oníròyìn à ń sa ipa tiwa láti máa sọ kíkọ létí àwọn obìnrin pé ọ̀rọ̀ òṣèlú òun ní ọ̀nà tá a máa fi dé ibi tá a fẹ́ dé.
ṣe ìyá mi ṣe wá rí tẹ́tí ẹ̀ wá sọ yẹn òun gangan nínú mi dùn sí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni
òde àwọn tó wá nínú wa ń bi mí léèrè wípé ó tiẹ̀ dá atagbéyàwó wa láàárọ̀ yìí àwọn fẹ́ mọ pátá àwọn gangan fẹ́ kó fúnra wọn báyìí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni
wọ́n nítorí bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹ dúró tẹ́ ẹ dùn yìí àwọn fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ dùn délẹ̀ pé pàwọ́ lè fẹ́ kó.
wọ́n dùn àwọn máa dùn délẹ̀ o wọ́n máa ẹni wọ́n máa dùn délẹ̀.
ọjà lóríṣiríṣi tá a fẹ́ ṣe láti ṣe celebration àyájọ́ ọjọ́ ìní aláwọn ètò tá a fẹ́ ṣe a fẹ́ ṣe àwọn obìnrin jọ àwọn èèyàn àwọn olóṣèlú ni àwọn obìnrin oníròyìn àwọn akọ́kọ́ tó dábàá wà lálejò náà a fẹ́ ṣara wájọ́ ká bára wa sọ̀rọ̀.
a máa bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ ní sùúrù chairperson tèmi a máa bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ ó tọ̀rọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n a gbọ́dọ̀ bára wa sọ ṣùgbọ́n I want to quickly go to Mrs. Adeola Adekunle. I really want to hear how she will wrap this session up. I want you to just tell us briefly what you will expect from every Nigerian woman or girl at this time in celebrating the International Women's Day. What will be your action word as we wrap up with you, ma'am?
All right, thank you very much. And to do this, I will just say, give my final message. Like you said, women are not asking for special privilege. We are not actually asking for special privilege, but we are asking for equal opportunity and fair representation. After all, United Nations, it is not up to what men will still represent. So at least if you give us that equal opportunity and fair representation, women will be able to perform, and women will also be able to make the nation thrive. Then when women are empowered, we definitely know that economies grow, communities become.
All right, thank you so very much. We heard that loud and clear. Yes, we need to push it up. We need more participation, and we need government also to be sincere when it comes to putting women in positions of authority, even if they did not, you know, come out to be voted for as maybe grassroots leaders, councillor, the governor, or even the presidency. There should be appointment positions that women is expected to occupy. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, wọ́n ní pé ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn pọ̀. Èmi wá sọ fún wọn wípé kán ṣe sùúrù nítorí pé wọ́n máa ṣe àwọn àlàyé yẹn. Ó máa kún, that is it. All right, so Mrs. Jumoke Johnson, yes, you were try and gbìyànjú àti ṣe àwọn àlàyé kan fún wa.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, the explanation is simple. We as women journalists, our role is very critical. Critical. I think you asked Mrs. Omoshola if our voices were loud enough.
Loud enough.
I do not agree our voices is loud enough. We will see it in policy shifts, in reforms, and in constitution of our government spaces. That is when we would know if we're loud enough or not. So I think that critical to achieving what we aim for, which is fair representation and unskilled representation, which is skewed by none of no fault of ours. It is like you started a race 5 years ago, and you expect someone who started yesterday to catch up. Of no fault of ours. Men, our society, our traditions have restricted women for a long time. That now that we are finally getting a leg out or leg in the room, somebody is still trying to wedge the door against you. So we are saying, please throw the doors open. Please leave the seats unoccupied. Let all of us come into the room and let the best take the seats. Let women have a place, a voice. We're humans in the society. And until you realize that we have a lot to contribute, we have a lot to change, we have our ways of making things better, you would continue to put the country at a loss. Now, International Women's Day is a day that helps us to continually sound these things. Of course, we say this every day. As women, it is our responsibility to continually tell the world the place of women in society and the need to let women take those spaces. So to commemorate this day, for us in our Watch Lagos, we are gathering women, we are gathering stakeholders, we are gathering mentors to come and talk to us, to come and talk to women about the theme for the year, which is Give to Gain. But for us, we've domesticated that, and we are talking about empowerment, strengthening the voice of women, and mentorship and advocacy. You know, when you help and push people and tell them this and this and this are the things that will work, and this and this and this are the things you should do to make that work. It will help a long way in setting them in the right headspace. And now, you continue to put that out there in the head and the spaces where women occupy. You're going to populate their minds and inadvertently populate women who will push for that target or for that objective. And also, two things I think we need women to start to strategically pursue is mentorship and sponsorship. You have mentors helping you to tell you what you need to do, share with you their experiences and how it works. Now, I'm putting it to women to men as a challenge today, this International Women's Day. Be a sponsor for a woman. Push a woman with your influence, with your reputation, with your money.
With your resources.
Push a woman. There is no cause that sails at a better speed like a cause that a woman is pursuing and is being backed by a man. From the home, from the workplace, anywhere, look at it, it works. It's a formula that never fails.
That's true.
I want her to wrap up here.
Benny, so on Wednesday,
we have to go. Exactly.
NUJ Secretariat
NUJ Secretariat ní Ìyálà níbo
ní Ìkẹjà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ Shoprite tẹ́ bá ti gba ẹ̀gbẹ́ Shoprite lọ sápá ẹ̀yìn ẹ ṣá béèrè ọ̀nà láago mọ́kànlá lọ́jọ́ Wednesday ẹ wá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa a fẹ́ ṣe àjíròrò lórí bí a ṣe máa rọra wa lọ́wọ́ bá ṣe máa fara wa sókè bá ṣe máa gbé ohùn wa sókè.
Bí a ṣe máa gbé ohùn wa sókè.
Obìnrin á ṣe ohun rere. Ẹ fún wa lọ́nà, ẹ fún wa láyè, ẹ fún wa lọ́nà ká lè táyé ṣe. Obìnrin á ṣe rere.
Thank you very much. All right, bye for now.